Welcome to this edition of the YouthBuild AmeriCorps Snippet series. Today I'm going to be talking about the National Sex Offender Public Website Check, also known as the NSOPW. This check is part of the National Service Criminal History Check process that we use to determine eligibility to serve or work in AmeriCorps. A compliant NSOPW is one that's run on an applicant's legal first and last name, is run after the point of application and before the start of work or service. It checks all states, territories, and Indian country, resolves all hits to demonstrate that the candidate is not a match, and a date-stamped copy of the list of hits is retained. This is the nsopw.gov website that we use to run this check. It's free to do, and all the information on the site is public, so you don't need consent in order to run this check. Next, I'm going to show you a few scenarios that you might encounter when running this check. This is the nsopw.gov website. To get started, we're going to enter the legal first and last name of our applicant as listed on their government-issued ID. We won't use the search by location feature, as that limits the information we'll receive. Instead, we'll just hit search. On this next page, we need to check a box and enter a code so that we can move forward. This is the results page for our applicant, YouthBuild. You'll want to print this results page and retain it in your files. You'll notice this message in red telling us that the state of Mississippi is not currently reporting. What you'll need to do is return to the website later on in the day or the week and run the check again until Mississippi is available. The timestamp on that second check when Mississippi is reporting would be the earliest that your applicant, YouthBuild, could start work or service under the grant. You'll also see that there's no records associated with this name. In our next example, we'll see what it looks like when there are results. This is the results page for Jane Doe. There are 73 records or hits associated with the name. Let's take a look at these records. You'll see that in some cases there are details provided up front, such as a photo or age, but in other cases there aren't details provided. If you click into one of the names, you'll be brought to a detailed record page, and you can use this information to determine whether or not your applicant is a match with this offender. Just like in our first example, you'll need to print this records page. But there's some additional work that we need to do in order for this to be a compliant NSOPW check. For this example, let's pretend that Jane Doe is a 22-year-old female that's applied for our program. In order to resolve these 73 hits, we're going to write no match, and then the reason that we've determined that our applicant isn't a match, and then we're going to initial. So for Vivian, we would write no match, age, and initial. And for Juan, we could write no match, sex, and then initial, because we've determined that Juan is male and Jane is female. Again, we would need to do this for all 73 hits in order for this to be a compliant NSOPW. Finally, I want to share a best practice. Since the enforcement guide went into effect on April 1st of 2017, any non-compliant NSOPW that is identified during monitoring can cost a program $500 to $1,500 per occurrence. My recommendation is that you don't start a member's service or charge staff time to the grant on the same day the NSOPW is run. On time, every time is the standard set by CNCS. If you have any questions about these requirements, please be in touch with your portfolio manager.